There are a lot of assumptions when it comes to Frank Zappa and why he would help a little 88-pound, 17-year-old girl from Medford, Massachusetts. We were never lovers. The man kissed me 3 times in my life, always on the forehead, like my father. He held me by my shoulders and kissed me on the forehead. I was 17 years old. My friend Norman Zadell used to take a lot of pictures of me because I wanted to be a movie star, and he wanted to help. Norman was a couple years older than me. He was friends with my then boyfriend Tony Mendoza, who was a lot older than we were. We would all go to the park and smoke pot, but our main choice of entertainment was to go to concerts. Live shows were our thing. Norman told me he had a gig at the Boston rock venue, the Orpheum Theater. The iconic venue had started its existence as the Boston Music Hall back in 1852 and was once home to both the Boston Symphony Orchestra and vaudeville shows. It became the Orpheum in 1906. By the time we were seeing rock shows there in the 70s, it was the best place in Boston to see a show. And now my friend Norman was working there? Wow. He was an usher. Dressed in a red suit jacket with his pen light in hand, he would escort the people to their seats. And Frank Zappa and his band were playing on the 200 Motels tour at the Orpheum. Norman told me, "Just come to the front and I'll get you in." Great. The show was just after my 17th birthday. No better way to celebrate. One problem. How was I going to get there? I was sitting in my mother's house. We were living an uncomfortable coexistence. She'd only re-entered my life a few days earlier on my 17th birthday, and we were not getting along. She was out for the night and said she would be home at midnight. I did the only thing I could do. I stole her car. I went in the kitchen. I found the keys and took the car. It didn't matter that I didn't have a license. I was going to see Frank Zappa. I showed up at the Orpheum in my mother's 1978 Delta 88 Oldsmobile, a canary yellow convertible with its black leather interior, the top down. I got my shoes all sparkled and dyed my hair green. I had on an incredible mini skirt, one with a big bow, plus some sort of furry top. I had these 2 blonde girlfriends, Deborah and Victoria, with me. They were dressed to the nines. We all had high heels on. We showed up late. By the time we caught up with Norman, Frank Zappa and his band were more than halfway through their set. But hey, half a free Frank Zappa show was better than nothing. "Come on, Norman, let us in," I said. That's when Norman hit me with the bad news. "I can't get you in." This made no sense, since he was there in his uniform with his penlight and red blazer. I asked, "Why not?" He then admitted, "I don't really work here. I fake it. I rent this jacket around the corner at a costume shop so I can watch shows." I stood there dumbfounded. I yelled, "Are you fucking kidding me? You made me get all dressed up and come here and you're not letting me in?" I was freaking out. He said he couldn't, that the show was sold out. I was steaming mad. How could this have happened? We were missing the show. Norman had a backup plan. He said, "Go out around the corner and up the stairs on the side of the building, up the fire escape. Once you get to the top, the 3rd window is a little tiny window that leads directly into the bathroom in the main dressing room. It's already half open because it's broken. You'll be in." I wanted to strangle him. Up the fire escape? Into the bathroom window? In heels? Was he kidding me? Was the window open and did it lead into a bathroom? I didn't fully believe him, but he was my best friend, so I had to have faith in him. I said to one of my girlfriends, "Come on, Debbie, let's go." She resisted. "I'm not fucking doing that." "Come on," I called. She followed. We went around the corner and I started climbing up the fire escape. Up we went, me leading my 2 blonde friends up the side of the Orpheum Theater, all in high heels. The fire escape was rickety, and I was seriously shaking with every step. I climbed and climbed, not looking down for fear I would fall. I was afraid of heights. We got to the third window. It was open. The lock was broken. I climbed through the window and stepped right onto the toilet in this little bathroom. Holy shit. Norman told the truth. I stepped down off the toilet and opened the bathroom door to reveal a dressing room. Standing right before me was Frank Zappa, standing right there. I said, "Frank, I'm your biggest fan in the whole world. I'm your biggest fan. I love you." Frank looked stunned. He asked, "How did you get in here?" I told him, "I climbed in the bathroom window off the fire escape. I love you." He hesitated and looked at me. Then he said, Smothers, get this girl a backstage pass." Smothers was his husky bodyguard at the time. He was a big mountain of a guy. I said, "But Frank, wait. I've got 2 more girls coming up the fire escape." Frank started laughing. That was the thing with me and him. I made him laugh. I could always make him laugh. He thought I was funny. He then turned to Smothers and said, "Get this girl 2 more backstage passes." Just then, my 2 girlfriends came popping out of the bathroom door, all disheveled. Smothers walked over and snapped passes on the 3 of us. Frank said, "Look, I've got 1 more song to play. Do you have a car?" "Yeah." I told him, "I have a car." He says, okay, good. Okay, wait right here." Of course I was going to wait right there. I was freaking out. I was just a 17-year-old waif, and Frank Zappa said to wait. We got to see the last song, the encore. After the show, Frank came right out in an expensive wool coat and beautiful scarf and asked where the car was. "Well, it's parked around the corner because we didn't have any money to park in a lot." He followed us to my mom's giant canary yellow Oldsmobile. He laughed again. He didn't know that I was 17 years old and didn't have a driver's license. He didn't know I had stolen the car. The girls jumped in. That's what we do. We didn't open the doors. We just hopped in because the top was down. Frank used the door. When he sat in the front seat of the car, he noticed the ashtray was wide open. My girlfriends and I had left a big fat joint rolled and ready for us for after the show. It was 1972. We didn't worry about someone stealing the car or the joint. That was the time. You were free to try, to thrive. There was no fear. Nobody was going to steal your wallet, your car, or your joint. Frank said, "Let's go to Ken's Pub on Boylston Street." I knew exactly where that was. We went and got a parking spot right out front. We got out of the car with Frank, and all these people, fans, were on the sidewalk. They were frantic. The band was there. Frank had 12 people in the band. It was a huge band he was touring with. We all went inside and sat at this giant table and had dinner. Everyone was laughing and going crazy. Suddenly, I remembered my mom was going to be home at midnight. Oh shit, what time is it? I never wore a watch. Watches die on my arm. Electronic devices, clocks, all stopped near me. Still do. The dinner wound down, and Frank invited my 2 girlfriends and me to a party back at the hotel, the Holiday Inn in Cambridge. We all jumped into the car. He opened the door. I went to light up the joint, but Frank stopped me. "No. Number, put out that joint. We can't be smoking pot." I put it out in the ashtray. We drove down the street and pulled into the hotel parking lot. The girls in the back seat jumped out, fast, even before Frank could get out. "Okay, let's go party," they yelled as they headed toward the hotel lobby. They were 18. They were 18. They knew I was not 18. They knew it. They knew they were cool and I was not. I thought again, "Shit, what time is it?" I yelled after Debbie. "What time is it?" Debbie yelled back, "It's 1:45. You got to go." And they knew I had to go. I said, "Go party. Goodbye." Frank was just about to get out of the car. I was sitting in the driver's seat. I said, "I can't go, Frank." I just met my mother recently, maybe 3 days ago, and this is her car. I don't have a license. I'm 17. I stole my mother's car to see you. I wouldn't steal a dime, but I would do anything to see you. Frank then said, yeah, you can't come to the party. I said, I know. Goodbye, Frank. I love you. He said, I'll see you again. Then Frank leaned over, took me by the shoulders, and he kissed me on the forehead. No one had ever done that before except my father. It was a special Italian kiss, a kiss of covet. That moment felt like I had known him my whole life, but I had only just met him. All I really knew of him was his music. After he exited the car, Frank shut the door. Then he just stood on the sidewalk with his hand raised, just like my dad always did. The voice in my head was screaming, yeah, right. See you again? How? When? Never. Go to the party, Dale. You stupid fucking fool. Go to the party with Frank. I was overwhelmed with sadness and started to cry. Instead of running into the party, I lit up the fat joint and drove away as fast as I could. As I looked in my rear view mirror, I could see Frank standing there with his hand raised, getting smaller and smaller as I drove farther and farther away until he disappeared completely in the dark of night. I was crying the whole time driving back with tears running down my cheeks, soaking my fluffy marabou top. I headed home to my mother's place. I smoked the giant joint and floored it. I made it home a couple minutes before midnight. I pulled in the front and quickly put the top up. I got in the house acting like I had been at home all night. I did all that and still got in a few minutes before my mom got home. How was your night? She asked. Fine. That should have been it. I should have gone to bed, but instead I just opened my mouth and admitted everything to my mother. I told her I went to the concert, told her I stole the car, told her everything. She said, no, you didn't. I told her, oh, yes, I did. And instead of being mad and punishing me, my mother just laughed. It helped that she had been drinking. My mother drank. My mother drank. As I lay in bed that night, I had no idea I would ever see Frank Zappa again, or what a profound effect he would have on my entire life.